Hello, my sweet friend. It's Christina, and welcome to a new episode of the Art Cake Coach podcast. Hello, my sweet friend. I am Christina Revalo, cake decorator, coach, and teacher, and I am here to empower my fellow cake artists to be creative and to work together as a tight cake community by providing information and opportunities for all, regardless of their level of expertise and knowledge. If you are a cake artist, cake decorator, baker, or cake enthusiast and want to be coached for success, this podcast is for you. Let me help you set achievable goals, understand that managing your time, having a positive mindset, understanding your customer, selling, using social media for your cake business, and knowing how to teach your craft are all as important as flour, sugar, and eggs. Let me share with you what has worked for me, all from a very personal and down-to-earth perspective. I want for you to put your name out there, not to be stressed with time and working hours, and to participate in cake collaborations and competitions, so one day you will be that cake artist featured in a cake magazine or teaching at international events, just like me. Welcome to the Art Cake Coach podcast. Well, hello, my sweet friends. Welcome to another episode of the Art Cake Coach podcast. I am super happy to be here today. Another beautiful Tuesday, another beautiful day here in Portugal, Lisbon. A little bit windy, but nice, beautiful, sunny, and spring day. I'm very happy for several reasons, but I'm very happy today because this is our 99th episode, which means that next week we are reaching 100 episodes of the Art Cake Coach podcast. Can you believe that? Have I spoken so much? I mean, I've been speaking for 2 years because, yes, that's another thing. Next week is actually the celebration, the anniversary of Cake Friends Stay Creative. No, it's the anniversary of the Art Cake Coach podcast. We're celebrating 2 years. And it just happening at the same time. 2 years of the Art Cake Coach podcast and 100 episodes. I don't know how that happened. The math doesn't add up, but somehow I missed an episode here and there. And of course, there are the recording episodes for the paid subscription, which I don't count as the number episodes because the number episodes are for the free podcast that you're listening to right now. So can you believe that? 100. Next week, we're going to be 100 episodes. There is going to be 100 episodes. I don't know how you said. I'll have recorded 100 episodes of the Art K Coach podcast. I didn't know I could talk that much. Well, if you ask my husband, he would probably say yes. You could talk that much. But yes, can you believe that? Wow. And today, the 99th episode is super special to me because, uh, well, you probably read it in the title, but I have two very special guests with me today, David Close and Miriam Pearson. Let's start with Miriam. I'm going to start with both of them. Both of them are people that I admire very much. I respect very much in the industry. I think they are the kind of people, and I think I've mentioned this in other episodes, that, like my mother used to say, they leave the room in a better condition than they find it. They always leave us something positive. We always learn from them. We are always better because what they share with us. So it's an honor to have them both here together on this 99th episode. So, Miriam, I know you're a regular here in the podcast. I think we joke in the episode that you should be my co-host here someday. But every time you're here, we learn so much. Everything that you do for the cake community, everything that you teach to your students, everything that you share with us is so important, so special, and make us grow as cake artists. So thank you for being here. And of course, David Close, head judge of Cake International. I admire him so much. His professionalism, the way he faces uh, all the respect that he has for everything he does and for the work that we present to him as a judge on Cake International. I thank you for that, and I admire you for that, and thank you so much for saying yes to being in my podcast, which I still think it's it's this thing that I do for my studio that it's just me talking to the wall. So thank you so much for both of them for being here. We had so much fun with this episode, so many takeaways. If you're considering participating in a cake competition, or if you have but you have doubts and you really want to know um, what's behind it, how do I do it, what to do, how to improve it, listen to today's episode, because I'm sure there will be a lot of takeaways um, from I mean, there's the Cake International 30th anniversary coming up there. David shares with us some of the changes in the schedule and everything that they're preparing for the show this year. Miriam, as always, and as a winner of Bake International and Cake International, she shares all her insights as well. So thank you so much, guys, for being here in today's episode. And thank you for being here in our 99th episode. There will be fun stuff coming next week for our 100th episode for sure. But it's going to be a surprise. So you have to be here next week. Promise me that. But for now, I'll leave you with today's interview with David Close and Miriam Pearson. I hope you enjoy it. I'll talk to you at the end of the interview. Hello, my sweet friend. Let me invite you to subscribe to the Art K Coach podcast exclusive content platform. By becoming a member, you'll get exclusive monthly content and access to audio classes and workshops on goal setting, time management, social media posting, pricing mindset, and teaching. Get access to exclusive bonus content for only €2.99 a month. Check out the link to subscription platform on the description of this episode. Let me help you on your cake journey and coach you for success here at the Art K Coach podcast. Well, hello, my sweet friends. Welcome to another episode of the Art K Coach podcast. Christina here. I have a very special episode today because with me we have David Close, Sir David Close, the head judge of Cake International. It's such an honor for me to have him here. And she's a regular, you know her, Miriam Pearson, my sweet friend Miriam, who's here also today because we're going to talk everything related to the competition, the schedule, and everything that you need to know as a competitor, and of course, from the judge point of view of Cake International. How are you guys today?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Doing good. Thank you. Yeah.
Great too. I love to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Actually, I've been trying to get David in the show since last year, I think.
Yes, I think it was last year.
Diaries
clashed.
Yeah, but here we are. And it is when it has to be, right? Miriam, you've been here a couple of times already. So
yeah, I think I live here.
Yeah, you do. You should be my co-host for the podcast one of these days.
Really.
This will be fun. That will be fun, definitely. Okay, well, today, like I mentioned, I wanted to do this episode. I know we're still far away from the date of going to Cake International, but since my friend Miriam will agree with me how much you need to plan ahead and to organize everything to participate in a competition. She's a competitor pro, right, Miriam?
Junkie. A junkie. That's what I call myself anyway.
Adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
That's a good vice to have. It's okay. It's a good one. Expensive though. David and I were talking about that. It could be an expensive hobby, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah. There's worse. There's more expensive hobbies that's worse for you. So I'll stick with this one.
We're gonna get there in a second. Of course, David, I would love to know. I think you have already told the story. I was telling you that I was listening to another podcast that you were at, and you told your story how you got to be a judge. But for our community, how did you get where you are right now? How did you become the head judge of Cake International?
I think it happened overnight.
Okay, that's good. That's a good way to do things.
Well, it's like everything else. In life, something comes along and throws a little side curve. And for me, the side curve was I was in the Air Force for 20 odd years and as a chef. So I competed at Hotel Olympia and places like that for many, many years. But I wasn't great at the sugar work. And the reason I sort of say that was because my brother once asked me to make him his wedding cake. Well, I made his wedding cake, but it was pre Sugarcraft. It was pre fondant. It was if you go back that far, probably Miriam might know about these things. The old rice paper flowers we used to get, rice paper roses. Used to look. I think people get them in sweet shops now, and they fill them full of sherbet or something. Well, they were the roses of the day. That and asparagus fern used to go onto the side of the cake to lift your roses up and all the rest of it. So I'd made my brother's wedding cake. I did a little pastelized church, and I thought it was very, very good. The only thing was when we got to the wedding and we had a marvelous ceremony and everything else, but unfortunately, he couldn't get the knife into the icing.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I'm sure some of us have all been there. We tried to make our own, and I'd made it with gum tragathin and all the rest of it. And I thought, you know what? I really need to know about this medium and how to work it. So then I started doing research, and I did some pastry work, and then from the pastry work, I then went down the road of joining the British Sugarcraft Guilds, getting tutorials and all that type of stuff. And that was my inroads into just becoming a sugar crafter. And I loved the medium. And then I set up the Belfast branch of the British Sugarcraft Guild in Northern Ireland. I invited people like Tommy Peck and Alan Dunn and all those real superstars of the day over to actually show us what to do. And from there, then, I then went to the BSG and I said, look, I'd like to become a judge. I think I know my talents. I've been a chef. I've been in a management position for a long, long time. So I feel as if I have an understanding of what's required. And they said, well, we can't. And I said, what do you mean you can't? And I'm sure Marian's going to probably agree with me here. The old allergy comes in where somebody says to you, well, you know what, you're too expensive. And I said, what's that? And I says, well, when you cross that pond that you guys have got, we've got to buy you a flight ticket to get you here. Then we've got to put you up in a hotel and you've got to do the training. Does that ring bells, Miriam?
Yes, so bloody Irish. Yeah.
Yes. So my response to them was, well, did I ask you to pay for it?
Oh, good.
And I said, I didn't ask you to pay for it. I said, I want to be a judge. I'm prepared to do what I have to do to get to my objective. Now, for your BSG, you had to do 3 exhibitions. So you did your training session, then 3 exhibitions, which was quite good. But you needed to do the 3 exhibitions before you were signed off by the judges. And I got through that process. I'm now a mentor on the BSG. I've been with BSG nearly all of my life now. And then I went to Cake and I went to Hotel Olympia, and I met Sheila Lampkin. Remember Sheila, Miriam?
Yeah.
She was amazing, and John Rutalic and all the rest of it. And I thought I probably thought I knew more than they did, because I'd come across with some of the Northern Ireland guys and some of the Irish team, and somebody had put in a spray of flowers into one of the classes on a cake. But if you remember the old gem products we used to have, and the gems were the pre-made flowers, and all they'd really done was dust them. So I went up and I challenged Sheila Lampkin, and she knew who I was because I'd been competing there for several years. And she said, well, David, if you know better, why don't you come and join us? So I then started joining the HRC as it is now. And then from there, she was then the judge at Cake International.
Cake International, yeah.
Yeah, so she invited me to Cake International to become a judge at Cake International. And really, the rest is history. I've gone through there. I've been judging for quite a long period in time. And then by chance, something happened to one of the head judges. And unfortunately, they couldn't do it. So I got a phone call and said, David, would you step in?
Okay.
And here I am today, sort of 5 years later, and loving every minute of it. Well, I am when I'm not there. When I'm there, it's a different ball game.
It's a different ball game. I was going to
It is
ask that.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
But no, yes, and that's where I've got to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a firm believer. If you take something away from an educational system or from people, always try and give it to somebody else. So pass on your skills so that you can mentor individuals. And if I don't do the practical elements anymore, but I certainly like to pass on my advice and my support to individuals and signpost them in the right directions.
Yeah, that's great because as well, I'm going to ask that to Miriam as a competitor and as a junkie competitor that you call yourself, you being in the position of being judged for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And what David just mentioned, being is not just judging, you're passing on knowledge through evaluating these pieces. So how does that has help you as a competitor and as a cake artist, as a sugar flower artist through all these years?
Well, I suppose I haven't always been a sugar flower artist. So I've been competing since I was 9, so 43 years now,
Mm,
and in various different, obviously, things, always in bakery, confectionery, sugarcraft, wedding cakes, all sorts of different things. So for me, it's leapfrogged an awful lot of things. A lot of people, I think, when it comes to competition, they miss the point of the competition. So they kind of think, no, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be up to that or whatever. But what they don't realize is that the opportunities that it can open for you, and they really miss that point. So, for example, I used to always compete Chef Ireland, David, Brendan, and all the lads there. And I always competed at Chef Ireland and Bake Ireland. Just for the enjoyment of it, really. So I was working for an ingredients company, and we do Chef Ireland is like the biggest catering show here in Ireland every two years. So I always competed and I enjoy competing. But as a result of that, suddenly I got noticed by the chef. I got offered a place on the Irish team at the World Food Olympics. I got offered a place on the Irish bakery team at the European Cup. So by me doing the competition and just working away at them myself, not for any other reason other than the enjoyment, I got those opportunities. And then it's progressed that now I just focus on. I've done all the areas of the different sugarcraft and baking, but now I just focus on flowers because that's my thing. But it's opened so many kind of different doors for me. Where even for your business, the one thing I always say about competing is you would never get paid for the piece that you would put in as an entry. No one would ever pay you enough for that piece. But what you do is you make the piece to the best you can. Obviously, the results are a bonus. I don't do it for results. The results are a bonus. I mean, if you get disqualified, it's not the greatest. But anyway, kind of do it for that. But
shall we go
what I
down
do,
that road?
yeah. So what I do then is, as a result, once the competition is done and over, I then use my entry for display, advertisement, promoting my business, and doing all that. So people really need to. I mean, so since I won at Bake International, and even before that, I've been open so many kind of
Yeah.
doors as a result of it. And it really is because you have the opportunity to make something that you'd never get paid for, you'd never be asked to do, and you can make something that's completely in your comfort zone, and just kind of something that you really love. And that's why I do it. As I say, I don't do
Yeah.
it for results. I do it for the experience, to improve and to kind of learn new techniques and everything like that. So
Yeah.
I look at it at a very different side than what a lot of people. I've often seen people. I mean, I remember a few years ago seeing someone at Cake International, it happened to be, and they got, I think it was a bronze or something like that, which is amazing. A certificate at Cake International is amazing. But they were
I'm
disgusted,
impressed,
and
girl. not with
Yeah,
it.
and they were disgusted, and they said, "But I got gold last year," and I'm like, "Well, you're missing the point. Now you need to go and find where did you fall down, where did you make your mistakes, and you learn from it. But you have
Yeah,
to kind of you have to use the benefits that a competition gives you. It's not about the result. It's not only
And
about the result, at
yeah,
least.
suppose it's a bit like
absolutely.
catering. When we were in catering, we used to sort of say, "You're only as good as your last meal,
Yeah,
Hmm.
not
yeah,
the one that you did last year,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
one that's
exactly.
on show today."
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
And you're
and
right,
definitely.
even
it isn't.
yeah, and even people will kind of say to me now, I've watched your progress. I've watched you kind of as you grow. And people are really, I said it in the last interview we did, Christina, sometimes, you're working away, and for the most part, cake artists are working on their own. So, you're all day long on your own, and you kind of think, why am I doing this? Why am I bothering? You think people are not noticing, but they are. They're really watching progression and how you do. And, when you get the great results, they're so genuinely happy for you. So you've got to work it to your benefit too, I think, for a competition.
Oh,
I think,
definitely. And
yeah,
in
even
both.
for the young people.
Yeah,
Even for the young people as well. Sometimes when I see the young people coming through, you also don't necessarily see the skill factor increase that much, but what you do see is their management of life. The social interaction they have with people
yeah,
really comes to the fore,
and their
and they're able to have
confidence.
a conversation, and they're confident.
Hmm.
Mm,
And
Yeah,
all of the things that you just, I mean, I'm getting so many takeaways from this because you're both talking from these different perspectives where it's all about learning in both process.
yeah,
I mean, being judged, participating, or judging and giving feedback. It's all a learning experience. And in the other hand, in both of your cases, David, with your story of how you got to be the head judge, and Miriam, your story, how you go and compete, getting out of that comfort zone, if you can call it, and saying, no, I want that. So I'm going to pursue that. I'm going to do that. I push myself. I learn from the experience. And that is what actually is going to make us grow. And I always emphasize this in the show, in this podcast. um, Growing is not only about taking the latest course and learning the latest technique on cake decoration or buying, I don't know how many cookie cutters can a person have. It's about that as well. Learning from your mistakes, putting yourself out there, letting other people give you feedback from your work and learning from that feedback. And it's an enriching experience. Definitely it is. Learning, I mean, I have to say, I the few times that I have competed, all of the feedbacks had made me grow, and they have been spot on. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
I know I
yeah,
have to work on this. Yeah, this is important. Yeah, this is it. I know. And it's been a learning experience, and
yeah.
it's always an
And
enriching experience, definitely.
Yeah, and also a very important part of it is when you're in the middle, when you're in the thick of your competition piece,
Mhm.
because say for example my flowers might take 60, 70 hours. Now I wouldn't do, you're obviously doing that over time. So I've started my CI piece now, and I know what my second piece is going to be. But it's very important when you're in the thick of it to step back and walk away and come back with fresh eyes. Quite
Yeah,
often the simplest mistakes, and David, the simplest mistakes are the basic techniques.
yeah.
Taping
The
on
foundation
flowers,
stuff.
the cakes being covered smooth. It's your basic techniques. And quite often the mistake you get is you get so involved with the piece that of course we take it personal, it's our baby, but you get so involved with the piece
yeah.
that you don't step back and come back and look at it with fresh eyes. That's a big mistake, I
That's
think
a great
people make as
advice.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Step away, walk
Definitely.
away, especially when it's not working. I mean, I've been doing, I've done all nighters. I've done 48-hour stretches on various live competitions, and if it's not going right, I'll walk away and I'll just get away, get out of the room, get away from the area, and then come back, and it looks completely different, and you'll see something that you'd otherwise miss.
Yeah.
You've got that
Yeah.
reflection time, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just to
It's very good.
unfocus your eyes as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's sort of. I mean, someone lately said to me, very simple kind of thing. So I had done a flower arrangement, and uh, I hadn't got I hadn't got flowers low down, and it was the point that they said, which I just forgotten to do because I was exactly so involved in it. Sit down when you're putting it together. Because when you stand up, you're looking down at it. So when you sit down, you're looking through it. So simple little things like that, or using a torch, or there's all sorts of different
Yeah.
techniques you can kind of use to improve what
I
you would
remember
otherwise miss.
last year you mentioned that. I think it was my piece or Tolly's piece that you said just lower yourself, look at it from a
Yeah,
different point of view, and you will see things that you're not looking at it when you're working
yeah,
from it from
Certainly,
the top.
believe you me, my judges will use their torches
yeah,
and
yeah,
get
yeah.
down.
The torch is a great one. It's a great trick.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
yeah, yeah.
It is. It is.
Or the camera phone. Always I look at my
Mhm.
piece through the camera phone, and it's completely different.
You see
Um,
details that you don't see
yeah,
otherwise.
you miss
Yeah.
your naked eye will miss it otherwise.
The thing
Yeah.
is, sometimes you're too involved in it. You've got that focus,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
exactly.
focused on it, and there's nothing in the periphery, nothing to the left or the right, and taking that step back and getting somebody else. And when I say get somebody else, you've always got to be very careful of who you choose. If you've got a
Yeah,
loved one or a spouse, they're not the right people to
no,
You're
criticize,
gonna say it's beautiful.
because, as they say, a happy wife is a happy life. Oh,
yeah.
yes, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And you're walking out the door saying, "Well, that's not going to get anywhere." That
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, and actually, just on that, David, I actually have one person. She's a fellow competitor. We compete against each other, but she's the one person. When I've my piece done, I'll take a picture. I'll WhatsApp it to her. She'll say, "Do this to put a flower here or a
Oh yeah,
flower there." She'll look at it, and then I'll delete it down. And it's just she understands the flowers, so she works in the same medium.
but
yeah,
apart
So
from that,
have that.
she's got that skill, and
Exactly.
you're after her professional opinion,
and you
Yeah,
don't want
and
exactly.
nice.
that's
You don't want
yeah,
nice. You want
No,
yeah.
no,
You
I
want
know.
a truth.
And
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like you say, the husband will say, well, probably it won't be right anyway, whatever the husbands or wives will
yeah,
say. So
yeah,
exactly,
you need
yeah.
you
exactly,
need that one person that will just say they're not being mean or bad about, but they'll just
Yeah,
say, move this. I did exactly this for this same person. She's competing at Salon this week. She sent me a picture of her piece. I said, pull a flower in there. You need to just move it down. So you need that outside perspective from somebody
yeah.
who
No, I agree.
knows.
I agree,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
And it's always that last minute. I'll just add a little bit of. It'll
oh,
just
yeah,
finish it off. Then you go,
yeah,
really?
yeah, yeah,
don't.
yeah,
That's usually my mistake. I usually, yeah, I like at the end, it's like just one more thing. And that is the thing that I shouldn't be there. Yeah,
Gone.
but it
yeah,
happens. It happens.
yeah,
Talking
yeah.
about, picking up from what we're talking about, David, what is the criteria judges are looking for on cake on this year's or any year
Well,
on
it's
Cake
the same as every
International?
year.
As yeah, it
The
is
first
every
thing
year.
you, yeah, the first thing you got to look at is the wow factor. Well, the most important thing is the schedule.
Yeah.
So you'll see the judges. The first thing we do when we go is we take our tape measure and we measure the boards and everything else to see whether it's in schedule.
Mhm.
And we've tried to be a little bit coy this year because sometimes because of the metric and because of the imperial. So
Oh,
we've moved away from imperial this year and we've stuck with metric. But
okay.
we're also going to give a little bit of tolerance because we know that not all commercial products. It might say it's a 6-inch board, but when you actually measure it, you find out that it's a little bit bigger than a 6-inch board, and that can cause problems. So we're trying not to be as rigid. We're trying to give that flexibility by saying, okay, as near as, and I don't mean 2 inches as near as, I mean as near as to that 6 inches or the equivalent in centimeters as it is. And that's always the starting block. And making sure that the other key one is we get a lot of competitors coming in and they want to tell us who they are. So they want to stick a little business card beside it or a
Oh,
little note
hmm.
or like Miriam's
Created by,
mentioned, yes, created by
yeah,
or
Don't.
all that type of stuff. And of course, we are so impartial and we have to have that anonymity. We have
Mm.
to make sure that we don't know who you are. It's one of the reasons why we don't go in at Cake International. We don't help the competitor put something on a table because we're going to be standing on that table later on that day judging those exhibits.
mm,
Now, if I know Miriam's, and I probably know Miriam's style, so again, I might say, oh, well, I think that could be, but thinking and seeing the individual putting it
Mm.
down is two different things.
yeah, yeah,
So that's the key thing. checking the schedule to make sure. I always sort of say to people, do a list from your schedule. You've got a schedule that says this is what you have to have in it, then that's one thing you write down. And then the other side of the list will be this is what you don't have in it. So sometimes we'll get people to come into a competition and they might have used, let's say, for example, a little bit of cotton wool just to lift a flower off from one to the other so it doesn't damage on the way there. And then they'll put it on the table and they'll walk away and it's still sitting there. Well, so what I'm doing nowadays is we're taking a photograph of everything that comes into the competition as it goes on the table. And the justification for that is so that we're able to say, well, there's your piece when it landed, because that's the first thing we're doing this year, to make sure that if there's any breakages or anything else. The other thing competitors think is that, well, I got it damaged in transit. Well, I get that, and I certainly know, for example, in the salon recently, like as little as yesterday morning, some of the guys did come over and their products were damaged in transit. So we are quite flexible. But the first question you're going to get is, where have you come from? Oh, I've travelled over from Trinidad. Okay. And then you talk to the next person. Where have you come from? Well, I've come from Birmingham. What? And you want to travel, you want a damaged in transit sticker for Birmingham?
Yeah.
Is it really worth it? The answer is no. I mean, part of competition, as Miriam will back me up in, is you've always got to have the ability to take it from A to B. You're not going to turn up at some bride's wedding with a cake and put the cake on the table and say, oh, I'm awfully sorry, there's a bit of damage in transit on the way there. Yeah. Well, I would be saying, well, would you mind damaging your transit by 250 quid, please? Because that's what I'm paying for. And it's not what I paid for. I asked for something. So again, looking down that route.
Yeah.
I love that, because that's a question I always had about the damage in transit thing. Yeah. Because I mean, I like that. I could understand that if you're coming from Taiwan with a royalizing piece, okay, it might get damaged, but until what stand is that okay? It's that going to affect the judging or not? That was interesting. Very interesting. Sorry, Miriam, I interrupted you. What were you
no,
going to say?
just I suppose two things on the back of that. If there is something damaged, because there'll always be something damaged, or that as Dave said, I used to, funny enough, always look for the damaged on transit sign if something got broken or whatever, but now I don't. So you must leave, if it was a leaf that broke or petals or something like that, you leave them in place. The judges can still see the work that's gone into it. Okay, there's damage on it, which sometimes can be had. So that's one thing that I do. Leave them there, leave them in place. But the other thing that I always do, so I fly with my competition entries for the most part. So I flat pack going over in the suitcase, bubble wrap and everything. I go the day before competition and then I spend the night in the hotel assembling and putting it all together. So if I want to do something that has three roses in it, I'll make 6. And I'll pick my 3 best. But when I get there, then if I've any damage, I have backup, and I don't suddenly have a gap. Then I'll have lots of extra foliage. I'll have a repair kit. I'll have my tweezers and all those kind of bits with me. So it's about just being prepared when you go across to the hall. Then to set up, same thing. You've got all the setup tables. And it's the same thing there. Just you've got your repair kit. That's why they are open from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock. You've got those 2 hours to put any finishing touches or do your bits of repairs on it, and to present it as best as you can. No one wants to put in a piece that's broken anyway. But you just have that backup, because it's the nature of the material we're working with as well. It will break, it will damage. So you've got to have that. A big thing I probably think as well, David, is checking for fingerprints and smudges and anything like that.
It is right there in the schedule. I saw it.
Yeah.
Look for the fingerprint.
I think that's a new, but that's a big part of it. You wouldn't present a cake to a customer with fingerprints on it or smudges or anything like that. It would be immaculate. So it's the same thing. You must present it to the absolute best of your ability, and following the rules. What I do slightly different when I get the schedule. I know you're saying about the list, David, but what I actually do is, so I take my schedule, I take the class that I'm going to enter, and I highlight all the bits, the size, what I can have, what I can't have. So, and then on the back of the back of the schedule, I'll write down the important parts. So it must arrive between 7 and 9, not 5 past 9. So
Yeah.
between 7 and 9, the door number, because you're in a panic, your cake's in your arm and you're like, where do I go? So you have your door number that you need to go in, and all those kind of little bits and pieces for it. It's just about being prepared and kind of doing your
It's
Yeah.
homework
planning,
on
isn't
it.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mind you,
And I think that's part of it, isn't it? Just being
yeah,
organized.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, be quite honest, but it's a steep learning curve, because I remember when I did my first competition, people would say that to you, but you're focused on getting that exhibit to the venue, and you're hoping somebody else is going to take care of all the administration elements,
Yeah,
and of course they're not.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
you get there, and then as you say, well, you need to go over there and register. And in many classes you got three. Well, you might need to go there, there, and there, because it may not
yeah,
all be in one envelope. So you need to think about that. And hold on, when you're doing that, who's looking after your exhibit?
Yeah.
yeah,
What have you left in the area? Because it's just
yeah,
life. You just
yeah.
people will
It
ask to
is.
borrow stuff and everything else. You need to make sure you protect everything that you've got. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
a steep learning curve.
It is a state, it's well worth. I mean, even the way I look at it, the book stops with you. So you're putting in an entry. It is your responsibility. I can give you all the advice in the world. David can give us all the advice in the world.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's up to the competitor to have the sizes right, to have followed the criteria, to have the repair kit, to be where they're meant to be on time with their schedule. That's it. I mean,
Okay.
this week I was meant to travel to Salon Culnair, and I put a team of 6 of us together. I had to pull out last minute, but the team is gone, and I've got the results today, and they've got on brilliant. So they have gone. Had I have taken on the responsibility of any of their administration and all that, I'm not there. So they've had
You're not
to
there. They have to
be
do their.
prepared.
They have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
you've got to allow that if you're traveling with someone, or you're relying on somebody else, there is always that factor that they may not make it. I think
Yeah.
we've lost David, have we? Um, but
No,
so
it's great.
there's so
Yeah.
Yeah,
you've
so
got to be
making sure we
prepared.
have the
So
backup plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not, you're responsible for your piece, and that's how it is. You know.
Yeah, that's how it is. And like you said, because last year, I remember you were the first time you were here on the podcast was to talk about all the preparations that you do to participate in the competition. And all of that, you mentioned all of that, the highlighting, the, writing everything down, making sure you know where to go, what time to go. And once you go there and you live it, because that was the first time I was going to go to Cake International. I think it was a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
I was like, thank goodness Miriam explained everything to me, because that's it. I mean, you have to be there at a certain time. You have to have, what table I'm going to go, put the sticker, don't remove the sticker, don't leave the piece by itself. I mean, all of that, it's important. It's just about being organized, because everything is there. I was talking
Hmm.
to David early, and I was looking at the schedule, and everything, all the information you need is right there. Now, talking
Yeah.
about the schedule this year, David, what is new this year compared to last year?
Well, there's 24. There are 24 categories. That's
Mm-hmm.
just in the main class. This is not talking about the bake, because
Yeah.
the bake we had 7 last year. We've got 10 this year.
Ooh.
We increased by 100% last year, so it was a lot bigger than we anticipated.
Mm.
So again, and I'm hopefully that's going to happen again this year. We've kept the juniors quite low, but we've got involved with the competition group, because we're a listening organisation. Well, I certainly like to make sure that we're a listening organisation, and there's nothing worse than putting something into a schedule if competitors don't want it, because if they don't want it, they're not going to exhibit. And all of the judges have gone through the same process. We've stood where every competitor stands. We've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, so to speak. We've had the ups and we've had the downs. And it's important that we have that, because then we're able to have the empathy. And we're able to say to yourself, well, hold on, let's take a pragmatic approach to how we give feedback to this individual, because emotions are one of the big things. So we're always going to get a lot of emotions. And sometimes those emotions will drive certain issues that wouldn't normally arise. You'll get the tears, you'll get the shouting in some instances, you'll get you're not being fair, you're not this and that. And it's a case of saying, okay, I understand that because I've been there and I can empathize with you. But what we really have to do is make sure, for example, we're asking you the questions, well, what would you like to see in a competition? Is it hats and handbags? This year, for example, I've gone for the head judge's wild card, and I've come up with, we've got sci-fi, fantasy, mythology, because we always had horror. I love horror.
Me too.
I do, because I think people they love the blood and the gore and the guts and everything else. And I think it's fabulous. It's a fabulous way of using your artistic license to the full.
Yeah.
So we decided, well, let's not do horror. Let's change it. And then so we said, okay, let's do sci-fi, fantasy, and mythology.
But it's equally good.
Getting the eeriness and everything in there. And I'm hoping for that. The head judge's wild card this year is we've gone for a wearable masquerade headdress.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah, I saw it.
I just thought about it because I go to a lot of balls and everything else, and my wife and I love black tie and all that. We've been to quite a few masquerade ball house, and I said, well, okay, we've done masks before many years ago, but let's see what we can do by giving people freedom. So everything has to be edible in the mask, and then the next step, which is the really important step, is whilst it's an edible mask, it also has to be wearable.
Yeah.
So you physically have to be able to put that on a mannequin or on yourself.
So we'll expect to see you trying them all on?
Certainly will.
Lovely. I mean at Cake.
Miriam.
I mean at Cake International, David.
I've actually got my former.
There you go. David is showing a mask he has it there ready to try on.
Well, the idea is
we need pictures of that.
Yeah, if we're going to use edible medium, then consequently, if it's going to be chocolate, if it's going to be sugar, if it's going to be whatever, I don't want to get my face dirty.
There you go.
So the idea is we're putting a protection in place. Now, a lot of people will hopefully use a little bit of common sense, and what they might say is, well, I've got a mannequin's head here. I will put it on the mannequin's head because that shows me it can be worn.
Okay.
But some may not. And, the idea is also to think outside the box and say, well, what else could I do? Could it be high? Could it be low? Could it have lights? What could it have? The word is your oyster.
Oh, that's
do your very
awesome.
best to make an impact statement.
Yeah.
So those are the types of things that we're looking at.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, you have so. Yeah, I mean, I saw the wild cards today when I was looking at the schedule. I was like, oh, for me, the issue is traveling from Portugal with all of that stuff. But there are so many great categories that I just wish to participate in all of them. I mean, Miriam, I saw they have beginners floral. Should this be my year? I tried to do something. No,
because you're not allowed because you've been making flowers for more than a year, so you're not allowed.
No.
Oh, well said, Miriam. Well said.
Sorry.
But I don't make them for anybody, and they're really bad.
Doesn't matter. You have been making them for more than a year. And actually, just on that, because actually that question did come up a lot last year in the group, David, that you're on about. It came up, people were saying, but exactly what you just said, Christine, but I don't make them. I've never entered before. The rule says you must not be making them for more than a year. So therefore, if you're making them more than a year, you can't enter that class. It's simple, and it's very easy to find out because now in the world of social media, of course, we all want to share our work. So it's very easy for judges to go in and look and see, oh, well, she posted up flowers a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
You're disqualified. It's simple.
Right.
It's it's simple. It's simple. So you're not allowed.
No, it's okay.
Actually, that puts you off the hook, Christina. You're okay.
It does. That was the perfect excuse.
But the thing is, and actually also I think it's something that comes up an awful lot for competitions. They'll say, so if you and I were in the same class, oh, well, I'm up against Miriam. No, you're not. You're only up against yourself. And that's something that a lot of people don't realise as well. They all think,
and I love that
she's in this class, so therefore I can't compete. Yes, you can, because we can all have gold medals, or we can all have silver, or whatever the medal is. and that's a big thing across all of the competitions that we do. While there is a first, second, and third place, we are all judged on an individual kind of merit, I
You're
suppose.
judged against the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all judged
But
against the standard.
it doesn't matter who else is in the class. You're judged against yourself. Your piece is judged as a sole piece.
Yeah.
And
That,
that's
that happened quite a few years ago. Sorry to interrupt you, Miriam. That happened quite a few years ago when I was at a competition, and I was only visiting the competition, and I seen this lady come in, and she was about to put something on the table, and when she looked to her left and looked to her right, she put it back in the box. I said, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm up against that. I said, "No, you're not. You're up against the standard. Forget about that. Forget about anything else. Just put your piece down," because you're never, ever going to get any constructive criticism as detailed as you're going to get when it's in front of the judge. And you've got the opportunities, not necessarily now, but before we had the opportunity when we did face-to-face, where the competitor could ask questions. But these groups are great now because the groups are asking questions and we're answering the questions by the groups. And that is giving people the opportunity then to have a full understanding.
That's great. That's great that you're using this window of this groups to listen for that feedback and implement that on the schedule. That's one of the things that I love about the competition. I think David, you mentioned it on the podcast last year. They just said when you put your piece in that table, you have a gold, and from there, the judges judge up or down or whatever. They see your piece and they put you in the right position that you should be, the right score that you should get. And I love that because I think for me, the competition is with myself. It's like, can I be better than what I did before? Or am I just in my head and I'm not doing good enough? All of that is with me, not with the people who's next to me. You could feel a little intimidated though, but but still, the judging is going to be on you. So it's
and you're probably going to be a lot harder on yourself than anybody else.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You'll be a lot harder on yourself. Sometimes people sort of say, well, what if you know a competitor and you know a competitor's work? Can you judge that favorably without having an unconscious bias? Well, the issue you have there is it goes the other way, actually. You judge it harder. And it's just human nature. Because you know that person and you know what their work's like, you will tend to turn around and say, well, I'm just going to judge that individual a little bit harder because I know she could do better than that or he could do better than that.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what we say is if you've got any involvement in the competition, then declare it, declare an interest, and we'll get somebody else to judge those particular pieces.
Okay.
Because that way you're totally a blank canvas.
Good. So for example, sometimes when I judge here, there'll be a lecturer judging with us. So I will the same thing. I'll ask them, do you have any students entered in this competition? If they say yes, I step them out and someone else steps in. So, it keeps it fair. It's a level playing field then for everybody. But just going back to that with the feedback and everything, that is the most important thing you must get from a competition. So many times they're disappointed they didn't get their gold or they didn't get, whatever it is. And they just think, well, I'll never bother again. But that's the most valuable learning curve, whether it's in the groups dedicated to competition and help, or if you have a chance to talk to the judges, you must do that because that's where you learn from it. And even on that, we won't always agree with the judges' feedback. That'll happen.
Really, Miriam?
Yes, David.
I was trying to avoid going down the road, Miriam.
No, I'm not going. No, I'm not going down any road. But we won't always agree with the judges' feedback. But the thing about it is, you still must learn from it. And I always say, when you sign up for a competition, you sign up for the fact that the judge's decision is final. So you might not agree with it, but you take the opportunity to learn from it.
It is a competition. Yeah.
It is there. It's a competition. And it is, you are signing up for that, for the disappointment and the heartbreak, as well as all the good times. But the judge's decision is final. So plenty of times I haven't agreed with the judge's decision. But I still go back to the fact that I don't use them for results. I use them for other opportunities. That's what I use competition.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is,
because you see so many people crying or mad
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first year I went there, the group of people that I go with, they don't speak English. I was the only one who spoke English in the group. So they were trying to convince me to chase you, David, around to talk about their pieces. And I'm like, I'm not even going to ask about mine. It's like, I'm okay with the feedback. I'm good with it. I'm not going to bother. This man is running around and I'm not going to be running behind him because I want an explanation of it. Just calm down. You got, and they got higher than me. I think they got bronze. No, they got silver. I got bronze. I was so happy with my bronze. I was like, I always joke with Miriam, you can give me a lollipop and I'm happy with it because it's like,
Mm.
okay, I got something out of the work that I did. And they were they were mad. I was like, no, don't calm down. Just read
You
the
take a
comments and
chill
figure
pill.
it out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how's that as a judge dealing with all of these people? Because you can see people in tears, mad,
Emotional women.
And most
emotional women is
and
like,
some blokes.
yeah, oh my
You're right.
God.
Yeah.
Well, and do you know what tends to be worse
Hmm.
is when you've got the competitor face to face, you can talk to a competitor. It's very difficult when they've got their audience with them, when they've
Yeah.
got their colleagues, their families, their friends, and you get that comment. Well, all of these people here said it was wonderful. My
Oh,
response to that is, it would if you guys had come and told me that first thing this morning, I could have used you as judges and we could get this thing
Yeah.
finished a lot quicker. So you got to say to yourself, you've got to be very careful. And the issue we have nowadays is the social media,
mm.
because
Yeah.
someone will pick up a telephone and all of a sudden the phone will be recording every word you say, and then that's going to come back and say, well, David Close said this.
Oh,
Or they'll be using the zoom on the camera to look at the sheet that the judges are doing rather than waiting. Or you
mm.
get, for example, one of the big things I get annoyed about is the fact that if competitors produce a recipe, or they've put an explanation down, or we've left the feedback sheet underneath, which we used to do, which we no longer do,
Mm.
people will come along and pick it up and start reading it and then walk along, and you sort of go, "What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Hmm.
That's personal. Somebody's poured their heart and soul out to do something.
Mm.
That feedback is theirs, it's not yours. Have some respect for what they've done. They've paid their money to come here to get
Mm.
constructive criticism, and then again, that causes more issues.
Mm.
But to be quite honest, uh, I think I go back to saying that because all the judges have been there, because they've stood in those shoes, they understand where the competitors coming from. More importantly, they understand at that moment in time that the highest thing on their agenda is trying to raise the award, but B, the emotions are way out. They're so they may not, as Miriam said, they may have done 24, 48 hours solid to get this piece on the table, and then to be told that it doesn't meet the highest standard that they expected, and it's their expectations. And again, it's just how to deal with those expectations.
Yeah.
So what we do is we try and we listen, because that's the most important thing. We listen to what they have to say, and then we then go through that piece. And 9 times out of 10, if we've got the opportunity, we do not do that at the table. I will take the competitor's exhibit away somewhere else so we can have that one-on-one discussion if it needs it.
Hmm.
But the feedback sheets, I mean, we've improved the feedback sheets this year. We've got all of the criteria, and in the criteria, we've also said, okay, judges, I'd like you to now add hints and tips on how the individual can improve. What could they do better? So again, that's trying to give them as much as we possibly can.
Oh, that's great. That's great to implement that as well. Because, like you said, it's constructive criticism. We're not trying
Yes.
to bring anybody down. Last year, I was talking to Marta, who was judge. I think she's going to be again this year, and she was feeling very responsible of that part. Like, I mean, what I say to this person can make it or break it. Can even
Yeah.
determine the future of their work as a cake artist. So you need to be careful too, and always be constructive and positive about what you're doing, right? Now, what sets apart a truly exceptional piece that you see, like, calls your attention when they're all there in the table?
Well, certainly, what sets things apart is, I mean, I was judging at Hotel Olympia once, and a lady got 4 gold medals for cakes, and the cakes were amazing. And she came up and she asked me some feedback, and she said, "What have I done wrong?"
Mm.
And I went, "Sorry, you just got 4 gold medals. I didn't get best in class. I didn't get best in show." And that's because she was striving for perfection.
Mm.
But you've got to remember, for example, what will float my boat may not float yours.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be very subjective. And that's why it's not one person. So if I'm looking at Cake International, how do you think we judge the best in show in Cake International? Well, I've got 30 odd judges, and I've got the ICHF management team. And we put the pictures on a PowerPoint presentation, and you come in and you judge whatever got the highest nominated awards. And we do that as a consolidated group because of that unconscious bias.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the opportunity for something. Well, I like that, and actually, I know who did that. And it works in the back of the mind. You've got to say to yourself, "Well, no, this is an open playing field. Let's be open about this and vote." And we sort of tend to do it on the judges' WhatsApp group now, just to save time. So if we know something's going to get a high one, and it's there, you take a photograph of it, and that goes into the possibility of that regime.
Got it. Okay. That's yeah. I mean, it cannot be just one eye, one pair, one pair of eyes. It has to be many.
No.
It has to be many. Okay, Miriam, what about you? Because you have been a winner, right?
Yep.
How does that feel when you see that goal in the table, and when you get called as best in show as you did in Bank International last year?
Yeah.
I mean, all those emotions. What does that feel like?
Yeah, it's a bit mad. It kind of, even now, every now and again, I still think when I'm like, God, I actually got it. I actually got the best in show, and it was sort of very much disbelief for me, because that weekend I got my first gold at Cake International and the gold at Bake International, and then to win best in show. Yeah, it was all a bit crazy. It was only when I was kind of coming home on the plane I was like, oh, I actually did it. Because never ever would I have dreamed to win the best in show. That I never entered for that reason. I entered, I entered on a punt anyway, because I had my piece finished for Cake, and as I often do, I kind of say, "Ah, sure, I'll stick in another one," and I put in the Bake International one, and yeah, that turned out pretty good. But it's back to what I was saying. It's just done so much for me as well, on a business level and on a personal level and everything as well. And it's just like, because it was so unexpected. I think that's what kind of made it all the sweeter. Um, just to be recognised as the best of the best up there. It really was. It was just, yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, really good.
It must be. It must be.
Really
And
good.
how do you feel for the future? How are you approaching the next competitions? Because I mean,
So
when you're just keep winning bronzes like me, I mean, you keep going up. But if you're
listen,
already up, it's like,
I, I
where I
was
go
called
from here?
Mrs. Bronze. I was called Mrs. Bronze for a long, long
Okay,
time.
okay,
So
I'm
don't
happy
ever
here.
worry.
I don't mind.
Don't ever worry about you think you're only winning bronze. The point is, you're putting a piece on the table. It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
the award. But
yeah.
for me, I'm going to keep it much the same, really. So what I did last year for Bake International was I went through all sorts of recipes, and it was the afternoon tea category. So we had to use pastry, sponge, and meringue or macaron as our base, and then we had to do flavor was open, which I love an open competition, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where imagination goes
Mm-hmm.
to where you want. So I'm kind of keeping it much the same this year, in that um, what I did last year was I picked my reliable recipes, the ones I've been using for years. I looked at all these fancy kind of recipes and everything. And yeah, sure, they're brilliant and they're really good. But I went back to my basics and I used the sponge recipe that my mother taught me. I used the pastry recipe I learned in college 30 years ago. And I used all of those recipes that are absolutely 100% reliable. Um, and then I added in my flavors and I did it that way. So this year, um, I'll kind of choose recipes that I know 100% works. If I'm going to try a new recipe, I will make it and make it and make it and make it, and I'll tweak it and I'll get it right and get it to what I want it to be, and then that's the one that I'll go with. I won't just try a new recipe the week of
Hmm.
Bake International and just go with that. I've chosen a theme for my entry this year, but that's just something that I've chosen to do. We're not expected to have a theme, but it's just something that I've chosen that I want to do. And like that, I'll just practice. I'll just practice.
Okay.
My husband was I didn't tell anybody I entered Bake International. I didn't even tell my husband until I think it was the Tuesday of the week of Bake International, because suddenly there was meringues arriving
Yeah.
and pastries, and having all tasted that, and he was like, Jesus, a Monday night and she's baking, what's going on? And I didn't tell a soul. I like to throw in a little curveball every now and again, and it was only when we were at the set up tables and my friends were there going, what are you doing with pastries? And I was like, oh yeah, I entered Bake International.
You didn't tell you, but here I am.
Didn't tell, and people quite often do that. I've had competitors from here. A couple of years ago, one of the girls from Cork flew over, never told a soul, because she didn't want that pressure on her. That
Mm.
wasn't why I did it, but she didn't want that pressure on her, and she just said, "I just want to enter, and I just want to enjoy it," and that. But um, I'd say for any of the competitions, whether it's Cake or Bake International, whichever one it is, practice is your key. That's your key.
Mm.
Like, get your basic techniques right. Make certain that your sponge is an exceptional sponge. Make certain that you can cover your cake immaculately, and do all those. And I think, David, probably you'll lose most points, excuse me, if the basics are wrong.
Yeah.
That's where you'll get
But the
pulled down. So
foundation's not there.
if the foundation's not there, and make certain that they're all 100% correct,
Yeah.
and after that then kind of perfect all the techniques, and that's what helps you improve as well.
And you're facing the next one just like that, just like the other ones.
Exactly
It's
like
like,
that. I don't
that's it.
I won't say I don't panic about I actually don't panic about competitions, but I do get nervous. So my most nervous point for competing is the X-ray machine at the airport. That's my most
Yeah.
nerve-wracking
It is. It
experience.
is.
Um,
You
so
bring
one of the
flowers. Oh my God. No. No.
once I'm through there, I'm sailing, because I've got a full day then. Because I go the day before, I've got a full day then to
Yeah.
get it all finished and together. So I don't sleep the night before a competition, never do, because I'm ticking in my head. I've got to be there at such time, and I'm counting the clock back, and I'm doing all that. But again, it's just down to preparation.
It's
Um,
part of the
but
it's part of the
yeah,
deal.
yeah, practice
Mm-hmm.
is key, and what you've got to do is you've got to commit. I mean, for the baking competitions, my hotel room is then my kitchen, and it's amazing what you can pull together. Kettles
Yes.
can become
Yeah.
Ban Marie's,
Yeah.
things like that. Hair dryers will melt
Thinking
We're
chocolates.
outside
quite
the box.
resourceful in those hotel rooms, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hair dryers melt
You just don't want
chocolates.
to. You just don't want to go in and clean it afterwards.
Ex-
Well, ironing boards, so you've lots
Yeah.
become tables. So lots of things like that, but you just got to be a bit resourceful. And obviously, so many people travel for Cake International.
Yes. Totally.
So many people travel a lot further than what I do, and
yeah. Yeah,
and you've
with
got to
big
be
big pieces and
huge.
like
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
coming in a seat next to them on the airplane.
that's
That's
it.
nerve wracking. I
Yeah,
think for me it's the most nerve wracking part is the transportation.
yeah,
Because I have
same.
fun constructing and doing whatever I'm doing, but then I'm always in the back of my mind is like, how are you going to get that there? How are you? I mean, protect the
Yeah,
piece. Like, think about it before you even start making the piece, or if before I even
yeah,
choose
yeah,
the category that I'm going to enter in. It's like, okay,
yeah.
which one are you able to take from
Transport.
Portugal to
Yeah.
Birmingham? Definitely, yeah.
Designing.
Yeah. Well, last year was plague because it was the smallest thing that I could put without damaging. I was like, okay, it's plague. That's it. That's the one I'm choosing.
Yes.
Probably, I don't know
But
next year. I don't know
but
this year. Not
that's how you work it out as well. Well, I
yeah.
mean, for example, the masquerade mask that we talked about is perfect for flying on a plane with.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
you're out bag luggage, just wear it over. I'll be fine.
that's it.
Oh, there you go. I can be on the plane with a chocolate
You only
mask.
have to take it off
Chocolate
your
mask.
passport.
If
Yeah.
somebody asks, it's a thing. It's a thing. I did it.
I think that's part of it. It's part of the madness, because competition is
It is.
mad. Like, it is madness,
The
but
other
it's
thing, yeah,
brilliant.
because the other thing you're going to get during that whole process is adrenaline.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
And the
absolutely.
adrenaline really
Yeah,
drives you on. And even,
yeah,
sort of, we sort of talk about Cake International as a family. As
Mm.
you go back to meet your family, your
Oh,
cake family who
definitely.
you've
Yeah.
never
that's
seen, and
right.
everybody then,
Yeah, yeah,
everybody's on an upbeat,
yeah,
you
Mm-hmm.
it is.
know.
And
It's
actually, when you
great.
do go through all the pain and you put the piece on the table, then it's like, so my colleague was with me last year, Carol, and it was his first time ever to compete, and he won silver. And when he won, he cried and he cried and cried on my
Yeah,
shoulder. And I
Yeah.
said to him, "Now you get it." I said, "Now you get what." He said, "Now
yeah,
I see. Now I get
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
is." So
Yeah.
when
You
you
have to
put the
go
piece on the
through it.
table,
Yeah, and it's
yes,
it's it's
yes,
it's a big family. It's a brotherhood. It's a
it is.
it
sisterhood. Everybody's
Yeah,
in the same. So yeah, definitely,
yeah,
definitely, that's
absolutely.
great. Now that we're talking about the mask and the wild head judge card. That's it.
wild cards.
Wild
Wild card.
card.
Well,
Did you
and
say
then
wild card?
head judge wild card. That's it. Sorry, I missed all the words there. How important has been through the years all of the innovation in cake decoration,
I think it
because I
has to
bet in
be.
the beginning things were quite different
Yeah.
than they're right now.
Yeah, we go back to the days when, what I mentioned earlier on, where you've got the asparagus fern, gypsophilia, and then you've got your roses and everything. Now we're making everything. We're making as much as we possibly can. And we're
Hmm.
being really innovative in what we're doing and how we're doing it. However, sometimes that has a downside because, if you think about the many molds that are being produced, and people were getting mold, and the judges used to call it lick and stick. And I don't mean that, I don't mean that
Literally,
practically,
but yeah.
but yeah, you pick up you pick up your alcohol, you put it on, you stick it on. But the molds are great, but people have to know how to use them. Because,
Mm.
I mean, a cake can be really, really beautiful if it's done in molds, provided they're executed effectively. And people need to know that the mold is just a mold, and you need to make that mold your own. You need to give it definition. You need to make it into what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's about doing all of those things. The innovation, I love the things like the sound and everything else. However, that said, for example, I remember it was last year when we had the monkey or the gorilla with the
Yes.
drums.
Yeah,
But by the end of that weekend, guys, I can tell
yeah.
you, I did
No more
not
Too
like
drums.
soon.
that. Every now and again with the center. So it's about making sure, for example, you build that in. So what the judges do for the innovation stuff, if we're using sound, lights, and all the rest of it, we say, okay, well, we will judge that element first, so that we can then concentrate on everything. It's a bit like the Bake International as well. We look at the ingredients that's going to be incorporated into the exhibit, and then say to ourselves, is what do we really need? And you'll notice this year, for example, we've said no fresh dairy cream. So we've removed certain things because it's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah,
But what we are focusing on, anything where we are accepting perishable items, that will be judged first. So
Mm.
we can then
yeah,
forget about everything else. We've also gone to the stage now where if we're doing the gatos and the drip cakes and everything else, to save time for the judging, we're asking the competitor to cut a slice. So it's a lot
Okay.
easier. So we just pull the slice out. But
yeah,
again, it will also give the competitor the opportunity, because that's probably the first time they're going to see what the inside of their exhibit looks like.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
So again,
Mhm.
if they've decided it's going to be a layered one, and then they take that slice out and find that they've got a big hole in it or a big gap or whatever, or the layers are amalgamated into one, then those are the things that they'll be sort of giving the opportunity to look at.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
taking your point on board, we've got to say to ourselves is, where do we stop the innovation?
Mm.
I feel we don't stop the innovation. I remember the cake, for example, when we started doing gravity-defying cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember the one quite a few years ago where the individual used the magnets and they had a
Oh yes,
spaceship,
had a floating tier. Yeah,
a floating tier. And you've got to say to
yeah,
yourself, that was innovative. That was years ago.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there are so many things out there that people really want to do, and it only takes somebody with a good design mind and a cake decorator to combine that energy. They produce the exhibit, and then because the best thing I ever find out about judging is when you go up to an exhibit and you look at the exhibit and he says, "How have they done that?
Yeah.
How have they done that?"
mm,
And that's to me, that's it. That's the innovation.
That's it.
And I
Exactly.
go back to Linda Wong when she brought out her book on floating extension work many, many years ago. And I seen it and I thought, how have they done that? And now I'm looking at other extension work that's coming in. It's upside down, it's sideways, it's left, it's right, it's swirling round, everything else. Say to yourself, you know, the amazing amount of talent that we've got there
Yeah.
yeah,
is unbelievable.
That keeps pushing the boundaries of the competition,
Yes.
molding the schedule, if you name it. I mean, if you can say so, giving us as competitors, I mean, when we look at that, it's like, okay, you have to learn, you have to step up your game, all of these things that come, that is the enrichment part that Miriam was talking about. It's not only about winning the
Yeah.
goal, it's what you learn through the
I think it's the
competition.
whole experience.
It's
It's
a
the
whole
whole
yeah,
experience.
experience.
yeah,
And
yeah.
talking
It's a
about
full
that
package.
experience, what do you want? If you could make a wish and say, I would like the competitors to leave Cake International. I'm going to ask David first as a judge, and then you, Miriam, as a competitor. What do you want competitors to walk away with when when Cake International is over?
When they walk away, what I would personally like from a judge's point of view
Mm-hmm.
is that they felt that the organization process was effective. They've been treated with respect,
Mm-hmm.
and that they've treated the judges with respect. That the feedback they have got will help them move forward in their journey. Because to me, that's extremely important. I don't want people walking away, I'm never going to enter a competition again. Well, let's have that discussion. And I've already mentioned the emotions. And sometimes, it's one of the reasons why we say on the appeals process, you can't appeal straight away. You've got 28 days before you can appeal. And that's to bring the body and the mind back to
Mm-hmm.
normality. So, and when you get that reflection, I remember last year, a young girl came to me crying her eyes out, got a silver, told me it should have been a gold, really tried to convince me it's going to be a gold. And I then give her some one-on-one time. And then I did another competition where I went over to Italy and she happened to be there. And I met her in the airport and she said, you know what? Thank you very much indeed for what you did. I now realize that everything you said was right on reflection. And I thought, well, that's all we want. We want the individuals to strive and we want them to meet their goals and
Mm-hmm.
help them on their journey.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And what about you, Miriam? As a competitor, what do you want to walk away with?
Pride,
Besides the
always with
goals.
pride.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but always with pride. So I want to be proud of the piece that I've made. I want to be proud that I've entered, and I've got the results. Whatever it is that I've deserved, and I want to have learned from it. That's for me the most important thing to learn, because I think a lot of people don't realize, like we've talked about our skills and what it is, but the actual skills that we have, people don't appreciate a lot of the time. What you can do with food, whatever the
Mm,
medium is. But for me, it's just pride really that I've done the piece to the best that I can do, and I've grown and I've learned. That's kind of the most valuable for me, apart from all the amazing friends that you get
Yeah.
to meet and the family that you get to meet, and the support system, I think probably as well among competitors and judges really, because
mm,
there's the rest of the year that we're chatting online and we're doing whatever. That's a really lovely part of it. That's an added bonus, I guess.
yeah.
That we do, like what I said earlier, most of us work on our own,
Yeah.
and when the chips are down, your cake family is there, and that's been
Yeah.
proven to me, time
Yeah.
and
Many,
time
many
again.
times.
Oh, definitely.
But for me, it's pride and learning from it. That's the most important part to me.
Oh,
So
I
yeah,
love it. Oh, I love it. I
yeah,
love it. Thank you so much for both of your inputs from different perspectives because I mean, it has helped me. You know, Miriam, you know me, because every time I go to Gig International, I'm like, I'm not doing this again. But it's not because of the judging, it's because of me. I get in my head and I get so nervous and so overwhelmed that I'm like, I'm not doing this again. But then by this month, it's like March, yeah, I start like, yeah, I'm gonna do it again. It's like, it lasts from November till March, and then I say, yeah, I
and
take a
then
look at
you
the
go.
schedule. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm gonna do it again. So yes, I'm gonna do it again, and it's great to see that what's behind as a judge and um, as a competitor who has won is actually that sense of family, of community, of learning, of because that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I saw a documentary the other day about, it has nothing to do with cakes. Was about the recording of the song in the 80s, this song that it was about I think they were trying to raise money for AIDS, and in the 80s all these artists got together and they recorded a song, and they put a sign in the front of the studio that said, leave your ego at the door. And
Yeah.
it kind of remind me what, because sometimes in this cake world you see so many things, and I said, well, this would be a good thing to put at the door. Just leave the ego at the door and just be there for the fun of it, for the learning experience, and to enjoy the time with your cake family.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, David, we have a last question here on the podcast. Mira, you don't need to answer that again because I think you answered that like three
Okay.
times already.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a question
Don't
here at
ask
the
it
end of
again.
the podcast. You know what it is. Um, if you could bake and decorate a cake for anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would that be? And what would that cake look like?
That would be really easy
Okay.
because it would be my mum.
Oh,
Oh,
Because my mum brought up a family of three kids, 3, 4, and 5 when my father died.
wow.
And to me, that would be the accolade that she would identify where I was and what I've got to.
Mm,
And to me,
yeah.
there's nothing better than that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You all guys, I mean, you guys always put like Miriam also, you mentioned your friends last time you were here when you talk about the cake. I think you
yeah.
asked me and I talk about my grandma as well. Yeah, it's all, I mean, baking, it's definitely family, right? It's that sense
It's
of
all
Oh,
family.
of
yes.
Yeah.
home.
It's all
Yeah.
family. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's funny because well, Miriam, you met my daughter David. You were at the
Yes.
my daughter was with me at the DMAs, and she was looking at everything from a different perspective because she's not part of
Mhm.
this cake world, and she told me, Mom, at the end of the day, it's cake, and cake is
Yeah.
supposed to make people happy. And it's like, yeah, you're right, and that's it, it's cake, and cake is supposed to make
Yeah.
people happy. Oh, guys, thank you so much, David. What an honor to have you here. Miriam, it's always a joy to
No,
have you
thank you.
here at the podcast.
Thank you so
um,
much.
I mean, I could keep talking for another hour, but no, I'm not going to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Uh,
Thank you for the effort that you
no
made to
problem.
be here today.
No, thanks for the opportunity.
I mean, it's a great podcast. It's a great show. I'm sure a lot of people is going to take a lot of takeaways from today's episode. So thank you so much. I hope to see you
See you
both
at,
in
see you in
November.
November.
See you in November. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you
What
so
are you
much.
doing, Miriam?
Pardon? What
What
am
are
I
you
doing?
doing?
What am I doing? Flowers for a change.
Oh, right.
Miriam is doing flowers, not me, right, Miriam? I just
No, you're
can't.
not allowed.
Oh, I'm so sad. No, I'm not. Well, thank you guys so
No, thank
much.
you.
And
Talk
to
to you soon,
everyone
guys.
listening to
Miriam,
the
all the very best
episode,
and look
Thank
after
you,
your
David.
family.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks a million.
thank you so much. And to
Bye.
everyone listening to this episode, as always, my friends, stay safe and stay creative. I'll see you all next time. As your cake coach, I am here to help you. If you want to go a little bit further in your journey to organize your time, set clear goals, Maybe teach, work on your mindset, or set a roadmap for results, especially for results and success. I am here for you. Why don't you book a free discovery call with me? I will be leaving the links here in this episode so we can chat, we can talk about what you really need, and we can see if we're a good fit for each other. Remember, I have just one mission in this cake world. First is to unite the cake community as one and to make you, my cake artist, my sweet friend, understand the importance of investing in you. Like I said, I will be leaving the links here in the description of this episode so you can book a 30 minutes free discovery call with me. And just remember, in case nobody said this to you today, I do appreciate you and I want you to stay safe and stay creative. Hey, my sweet friend, if you like this episode and enjoy this podcast, there is only one thing I want from you. Please like, follow, and leave me a started review in any of your favorite podcast platform where you're listening to this podcast now. This way, this program can keep growing. The algorithm will show it to more cake artists who will benefit from it. Download the episode, share it on your social media, and tag me, and I'll gladly tag you and follow you back. I would love to hear what you have to say. You can leave me a voice message on Anchor, Spotify for podcasters, answer the questions and polls on the episode, or leave me a comment on my social media. Even if you don't like what I say, I would love to hear your opinion. And let me invite you to follow me on Instagram as at the Art K Coach or in any of my social media accounts. I'll leave you all the links in the description of this episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Art K Coach podcast.